Welcome to our team call for December, whatever it is today. I'll go over our Success Club leaderboard. I don't know. I think I may have forgotten to post the volume one. I'm pretty crap. I think I did. I'll post it later though. Okay. Success Club 10 and 20. We've got Allie. Oh, by the way, these are November numbers. These are not December numbers. Allie and Sarah at Success Club 20, at Success Club 10 plus, Katie, Chris, except for not Chris really at all, Julie Langford, Melissa, me, Robin, Amanda, Taylor, Michelle, Mallory, Krista, Justin, Tara, Alexandra, Kelly, Lori, Sarah Lynn, Tracy, Karen, Stephanie, and Allison. That is awesome, you guys. In November was a tough month, and you guys killed it. At Success Club 5, we have Kathy Clausen, Karina, Alicia, Tabera, Candace, Manessa, Josh, who is actually Julie, Brittany, Helen, Carolee, Nicola, Caitlin, Whitney, Leslie, Christine, oh my gosh, we have so many people, Ashley, Cheryl, Joan, Carmen, Yolanda. Ew, this girl's been impressing the crap out of me. I just have to pause for a second. So Yolanda, she was super pregnant in October and hit Success Club, and then she had her baby and then hit Success Club in November. She is well on her way for December, and it's not like she's working constantly. She's there building a house, and she's mommying a lot, and she's just being so consistent with Power Hour. So huge shout out, Yolanda. Also, Jennifer, Alana, Laura Lee, Nikki, Amanda, Morgan, Melanie, and it was her first month as a coach, so that's amazing. Amanda, Jennifer, Gina, Sarah, Jamie, Emily, Danielle, Stephanie, Kyle, who is Melissa, Lacey, Kayla, Tina, Shelly, Lindsay, Bianca, and Janine. Wow. That was a lot of names, and that was super, super impressive. Also, oh wait, I'm just going to mute again. Also, worth mentioning and celebrating for sure is the new diamonds that we have on the Fit Republic team. Okay, so they announced announced a bunch of new diamonds, like diamonds for the month or something. And 7 out of 15 in Canada were from the Fit Republic. So I was like, yeah, that is amazing. So congratulations to you girls. I'm super excited to start working with you on all kinds of things coming up for the team. New coach training. We're talking about revamping our new coach training. We're talking about having an ongoing training portal where you guys can go in and you can learn about what you need to learn after you're done the new coach training. So if you need to learn more on social media, there's going to be content for that. There's going to be content for volume training, like what the heck is team volume bonus? How do you earn team volume bonus? More stuff on team building. So we've got a lot of discussing to do in terms of what actually is going to go into that portal, but we're very excited to roll it out to you guys in January for sure. Other announcements. Oh, so I think I mentioned this last week, but the Core de Force Challenge Pack and the 21-Day Fix Challenge Pack and the Country Heat Challenge Pack. I don't know. Does anyone here even do Country Heat? Is that a thing on our team? Can you do this if you love Country Heat and you promote it? That's a hard no on our team, which doesn't surprise me because, no, I didn't. Do you, Melissa? Okay. So it's weird. Most of the people who show interest in that program ask me if they can have the program, but they don't want to do the nutrition portion of it. So they ask me if they can buy it without the containers and nutrition plan, which is interesting. But I haven't really had it much in my challenge groups. But in any case, all of those 3 challenge packs, the sale price on those is going to be permanently retired in January. So the sale price on those challenge packs is good only until the last day of December, and then it's gone. this is definitely part of a larger Beachbody strategy for 2017. And as soon as I hear what the big news is, like in terms of Beachbody On Demand and all of that stuff, I've talked about it on a couple of team calls. I will let you know as soon as I know what the exciting news is and the direction that we're going as a company. So what I would do and what I have been doing for the month of December is I'm promoting, I have what's called Fitness Survival. So for the month of December, I'm talking about like the December challenge group as not really like a challenge group. So I'm saying if you want to get amazing results in January, like if you were going to join me anyway in January and you've got some like crazy fitness goals to accomplish in January, awesome. You may as well get in on it now because the sale price is over on December 31st. And in the meantime, like you get a 2-for-1 sort of deal because in December, it's not going to be necessarily so much about losing weight or losing inches. It's going to be about building a ritual around your workouts, getting into a routine with that stuff, really understanding the nutrition plan. I'll offer education on meal prep and meal planning and kid-friendly meals with the 21-day fix, or with the, I call it portion fix because it's not the 21-day fix meal plan. I always call it portion fix. So I talk about the education that they're going to get so that they don't gain the typical holiday 8. Holiday 8, it's a thing. Use it. Say that on your page. Holiday 8. That's how many pounds people typically gain over the holidays. So I'm talking about how they get started in December, they get all this education, they get into sort of a routine, they avoid not being able to fit into their jeans in January, and then we're going to hit it hard in January. And I call my January challenge group the January Shred. So it sounds super hardcore and very, very awesome, and anybody who wants to get results wants to be in this program. So that is how I'm positioning it. I would go back to any and all of your contacts who you've talked to in the past about Core de Force and 21-Day Fix and Country Heat and let them know about this opportunity to get like a 2-for-1 thing and to still get the sale price on all of those programs. Okay. So that is it for announcements and such, all of that good stuff. So my man is here with me. We want to talk to you guys a little bit about our story, when I started coaching and how Chris survived it, right?
Yeah, accurate.
Yeah. Because I think it's something that we don't really talk about enough is like the partnership. So I started coaching 2 days after my third baby was born. You guys know this. But Chris wasn't unfamiliar with Beachbody at that time. He's a really naturally skeptical person, which is like a cop thing. Like I've talked about that before. That I think it's like they have to be like that to be good at their job. So he wasn't unfamiliar with Beachbody because I had done Beachbody programs in the past. Had you done any? He believed in Beachbody as a company and he thought the workouts were good for those people, right? For a long time until he actually tried Body Beast and got legit amazing results with it. So he wasn't doing like the workouts or anything with me, but I had like cyber met Barbie Kalev before she became a coach. And then I told Chris here and there about her success. Like, holy crap, 5 years later, she's a millionaire. I don't even understand. This is insane. So when coaching came to Canada and I wanted to jump in, our baby was just due. And I literally did tell Chris, if I'm pushing a baby out when registration opens up, you have to take my phone and you have to go register me because I need to get in on this like right away. And so, 4 years later, 9 months into coaching, I tendered my resignation to corporate, and Chris just retired in March of this year. He retired from the police service in March of this year. So needless to say, our lives have changed a ton, but holy crap, we made 100,000 mistakes in our journey as a Beachbody couple. And we did some things right too. So we want to just share with you guys like things that we think we did right in the beginning and throughout, things that we know you did really wrong throughout. And then like, we'll give you some tips, some like, these are best tips for couples when one starts this crazy, amazing thing called coaching. And then we'll take questions. So whatever questions you guys have, there's very little that's off limits. Well, I mean, Chris is more of a private person than I am, but there's little that's off limits for me. So ask questions for sure. Yeah. Okay. So the first thing that I think I did right was that I talked to Chris about the opportunity, and I didn't try to make it smaller than I thought it could be. I made the opportunity as big in my explanation as what I wanted it to be for us. Like, as life-changing as I thought it could be for us, I told him that. And I told him in no uncertain terms, I want to do this. Like, I think I can do this, and I really want to do this. So right out the gate, like, I asked for his buy-in. I asked for his support and his buy-in, like, right out the gate.
We also aligned our common goals. So after she talked to me about the business and the opportunity, I mean, that's really where it started for me. And that's what got my attention, right? It wasn't the potential results she could get with a challenge pack. It was the business for me. That's what got my attention. She asked for my buy-in. And once I played 20 questions with her and asked so many questions, I decided this was legit, and we aligned our goals. So what that means is, one of the biggest things you can do is dream with your partner. You have to, before you even set the goals, you've got to dream about where it can go. What can it do for you? If you want it to pay for Disney every single year for your family, great. If you want it to make you mortgage free, that was really our goal at the beginning, is, can this get us out of debt completely? Can this pay for our house and actually bring us both home from work? That was our goal from the beginning, and we're quite far along in accomplishing those goals.
Well, bringing both of us home, yeah, that was like number one, what we wanted to accomplish. And like, you know what? A lot of our goals took longer than we thought they would. Like, you know, we set goals and we thought that we would hit them earlier on in the process, but there was an unwavering commitment that I think was born out of that dreaming together. Like, we dreamed together about what would mortgage free mean for our family. Holy crap, I could buy so much makeup if we didn't have a mortgage payment. And I mean, Chris thought probably more responsible things than that. But just not having the stress of a mortgage and a line of credit and credit cards and all of that stuff. Like, that was our big, big dream. And that's why when I started, both of us were all in. Something Chris sort of touched on a little bit that I don't know if you caught. He said he asked a lot of questions. He asked a ton of questions. Is this a pyramid scheme? Like, really, is this a pyramid scheme? Like, how do you make money actually? And like, he asked enough questions until he felt like, okay, this is a legitimate opportunity. I don't remember if I got mad at you for doing that. Did I?
I was kind of watering the excitement down a bit, but
yeah, he watered the excitement down a little. I like all the excitement, and it didn't feel so fun, you know, to have those conversations. I probably got annoyed just knowing my personality.
Guess what? Our life is going to change.
Yeah. And he's like, but how? And I'm like, shut it. Our life is going to change. And so I think those questions that he asked, like, that allowed him to have more buy-in, right? So that he believed in this as a legitimate opportunity to change our lives in the future. So once we established, yes, this opportunity is real. Once we established, okay, these are our goals. Like, first, bring me home from work. Second, bring Chris home from work. Third, completely debt-free. So after that, we established, like, what are our sacrifices going to be? Because obviously, you know, 2-day-old baby for me, and a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. And then Chris was working shift work, and it's like 12 hours a day plus commute time. he doesn't really even see us, right? When he's like those days that he's working. So what is our level of sacrifice going to look like? Because something's got to give. That is not a life where you're sitting around and wondering what to do with your time.
Yeah. I'm an all or nothing guy. So once you get my buy-in about this being legitimate, in my opinion, it's whatever it takes. There are no sacrifices short of, my firstborn that we wouldn't make to make this happen. But we had to go over what that actually looked like day-to-day life, right? So we lowered our standards for what the house is going to look like. This is just everyday real people stuff. I'm going to have to pick up the slack, to be honest. Like there's going to be, I gotta get good at doing all the things that I never did before and doing the majority of the housework and whatnot. I mean, that doesn't have to be your case, but that's what it looked like for us, because it took so much of her time to come out of the gate strong with this business that that's what it looked like for us.
And honestly, like, he cares a lot more about what the standards of our house is. He's a little OCD about that stuff. And I'm really not. Like, I care about it being clean, but I really don't care whether or not it's messy. Right. So that was something that was like a little bit tough for Chris to swallow. But we had to renegotiate all the time. Like, this is what our schedule looks like. And, I can't do this today. Can you pick this up? And especially because when Chris was working, he was gone for 4 days. When he was home, there was slack to pick up, to say the least. So we negotiated that and renegotiated that and renegotiated that. Like, that constant checking in, I think, is something that's so, so important for couples as well.
So you've got to go all in as well. Like, when you, not just all in with belief in the business, but you have to believe in the person who's working the business. Did I know for sure that Rosa was going to be a top 10 coach, or, that she was going to pay off her mortgage or bring this both home from work? I did not know that, but I knew if there was a way, she would find it. You've got to believe that the person next to you can become the person who is that top 10 coach. And let me tell you, what I've seen through these last 4 years is that anyone can. The focus has to be on personal development. I think anyone who starts this business can become the person who will fulfill all of your goals. You may not be the person, or your spouse or partner may not be the person who is that top 10 coach or who is making $1 million a year. It doesn't matter. Believe that they will find a way. Believe that they will become that person.
I was super lucky to have that at the beginning. A question that I asked Chris at the very start, I was so afraid. I was so afraid to tender my resignation at my job. I had a great job. I earned 6 figures. I was on the way up there. And I was just deathly afraid of wasting my entire maternity leave trying to build this business. And then what if I fail at it? So I asked Chris that. I was like, what happens if I waste my entire mat leave? And he was like, you know what? If we make this decision and you jump in as a coach and you spend all of this time and we make all this sacrifice and it fails, you're never going to regret giving 100% at something that has the potential to change your life. I think about that still. That still inspires me to keep trying and keep failing, because I essentially had his buy-in that if I do fail, he's not going to hold it against me, right? And I just want to clarify too, when I say all in, when we talk about being a top 10 coach or paying off your mortgage, that might not be your goal, and that's cool. But you've got to be just as all in if you have goals of paying off your credit card, or if you have goals of being able to pay for a vacation and paying cash for Christmas every year instead of putting it on credit. Regardless of how big or small your financial goals are, you've got to be as all in and as consistent with just less time, right? If you
Right.
have smaller financial goals. Okay, let's talk about some things that we did wrong as a couple. Oh, hold on. We've got a couple of questions here. So, how do you guys do check-ins? Honestly, it usually begins with a fight. So we're pissed.
Yep.
I'm pissed or he's pissed. And then if Chris is pissed, then he won't say the words, but I know he is, and then I'll ask him, and then I'll fight with him. And then we realize we need to check in with each other. Or for me, I just explode and I'm pissed, and then we talk about it, right?
Yeah, I guess that's the majority.
We don't have a process around it.
No.
We don't. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we should. I don't know. What was I going to say though? Oh, but we talk a lot, like just as we're doing stuff around the house. Today when Chris was getting dinner ready and I was creating our notes for our call, we're constantly like, quiet, mommy and dad are trying to have a conversation. Like we just needed to talk for 15 minutes and we're like, shh. So like, we don't mind taking that 15, 20 minutes, even if the kids are around, to have a conversation. If we need to have a conversation, we're not going to talk for 3 hours, but 15, 20 minutes doesn't hurt anybody. Chris, do you do personal development daily? This is a question.
I do. That's a question for me. I do actually. Yes, I do.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do the same thing for personal development. Like we don't do the same things, but I'll talk about, oh my gosh, I love this book. He loves Darren Hardy.
Yeah, there'll be times when, something she'll say about a book she's reading will pique my interest, and I'll get that book. But most of the time, we're actually doing something different. So a couple books that I liked was Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, Compound Effect. What else did I read?
He's read a bunch, like he's done a bunch of my audio books, but yeah, we are doing something different a lot of the time. And like if he's listening to something, like sometimes he'll do like a faith-based spiritual sort of podcast or like a church sort of thing that he'll send to me, or he's reading a book and he'll send that to me. And so like we kind of stay on the same page, but mostly it's different. I think it's because Chris, I don't know, what was it, like 2 years? How long did it take you to do any personal development?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. And okay, I'm going to say something that he said earlier. He's like, you don't want to be the guy who, your wife's working out and she's getting all hot and getting in shape. And then she's like growing so much as a person and she's becoming this amazing person. He's like, you don't want to wake up and be that guy where people are like, how did he get her? So he jumped on the personal development bandwagon.
And lifted a few weights.
And he started Body Beast. Yes. Okay. So a few things that we did wrong. Chris, you start.
Okay. I started focusing on the short term. Any negative or perceived negative things that were happening, like life changes on a day-to-day basis, the house falling apart and just the little things. I started to get focused on the short-term things that were going wrong, and I lost my focus on the goal. And I think it's really important to fly at the 50,000 foot view like Rosa does. Don't focus on the details and let a lot of things roll off your shoulders.
Yes, for both of us. Something that I know we're all guilty of as coaches is like not honoring your time with your partner and being on your phone and not going to bed together. Like shift work and all of that definitely plays a part too, but just like not honoring your time commitment to just be with your partner and to spend time, like if you have kids, to also spend time with them and actually be really present there. There were a lot of times where I was like this when Chris was talking to me, and that is a horrible feeling when someone does it to me. Like that sucks a lot of butt. But like that's a mistake that I made, and that I'm always course correcting on. Something that we just recently did I actually asked Chris, like, what does your ideal like lifestyle sort of situation look like in terms of like our time together, time with our kids? Like, what do you want? How do you want that to look? And so we had this conversation and realized we're like super on the same page about what we want. I've really cut down my hours, actually in the last couple weeks, especially. Like, I've really cut down my hours. I've gotten to the point in our business where we don't need to sacrifice like we used to sacrifice. And these like family times, we're going to have a date night every Friday night, which I'm super excited about. Like, you don't need to be working all the time. And I think you're actually, like, huge mistake that I made. You're less productive if you are on all the time. If you're always checking messages, always checking Facebook, you're a lot less productive and you're a lot more stressed out and you're not as fun to hang out with and spend time with. And then also you probably have less bedtime cardio. That's not good for any relationship at all. No. Mistake that I made, big mistake that I made. After Chris came home, when we were planning on Chris coming home, I put the pressure on for Chris to start coaching. I am the one who put the pressure on for him to do that. I'm like, well, if you did this and like you're here in this business center and then this would really help for this and this and this. And it wasn't about like, I wasn't taking into consideration what he was going through leaving the job that he left as a cop. And so that was a really bad idea. Just don't do that.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be fine with coming home. There would, it'd be a smooth transition, but I think it was closer to full-on crisis mode than anything else. Just being at home and not having a job to go to, I didn't realize what kind of effect that would have on me. And in the midst of our top 10 year, with everything being so busy, it wasn't the right time for me to start. So definitely that was a huge mistake that we made.
Yeah. And then as a cop too, like it's a different kind of job. It's not just a job you go to. It really becomes like a part of who you are. And so like that transition combined with this being our top 10 year, yeah, that was my bad. Okay. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to write them down. We'll just give you a few points that we think are really important for couples doing this Beachbody thing.
Okay. I think best case scenario is if you guys can work the business together from the start. I think maybe one of my regrets is that I didn't, she already had my buy-in with the business. I already believed that we could do this, but I didn't start coaching with her. And I think if we could have grown together through that process, and I think actually the business growth even would have been exponential if I had started with her. I think that's best case scenario if you and your partner can do it together. If that's not possible, I think second, as the supporting partner, you need to believe in her, believe in the business, and support them in any way you can. Logistically, emotionally, spiritually, any way you can, just support them. If you can't do that, if you're super cynical and you're the one, who can't really get behind it, then support it as a hobby. If you don't believe in the business opportunity, if you don't believe, that they should be spending as much time as they are, just support it as a hobby and let them, don't be negative or critical ever about what they're doing. Let them have their thing. If they want to spend this much time into a hobby, something that you think is a hobby, let them do that. You don't ever want to be the stick in the mud who doesn't support your partner and
I just want to interject really quick here though and say that like your hobby, if your spouse or if you're that partner who really, can't get behind the idea of this or whatever, like it's really important as a couple to negotiate how much time is going to then go into that hobby, right?
Yeah.
And like agree on what that looks like. Because the most important thing is your relationship, not Beachbody, right? So like negotiating and renegotiating that is always a good idea. And there are a lot of coaches who had partners who didn't believe at all until they started showing results, right? So make that time for your hobby as you negotiate it together.
Right. And then when the results start happening, you're most likely going to get the buy-in of your partner. But being that stick in the mud and the opposition to what they're doing, there's a very low chance of any success. Almost guaranteed your partner will quit if you're opposing them.
Because like every coach, like your relationship is more important than what you're doing as a coach. And if it's always causing like tension and friction in your relationship, then it's not worth it, right?
Exactly.
So like Chris was talking to the partner, obviously there, like, support in the best way that you can possibly support. And I think with what Chris was talking about, it's less about the business and more about your relationship. A lot of this stuff, aligning your goals together, deciding together what that time commitment looks like, deciding together what that sacrifice looks like for your family. As a coach, what are you expecting from your husband? Did you actually talk to him about it? Or, if you're a male coach, what are you expecting in terms of support? Did you talk to her about it? And do you actually have the same expectations? Or are you just pissed without having ever really had that conversation? Oh yeah, I say that.
Oh, yeah. One of the best things you can do, listen to your partner. I don't know how many times it was. It wasn't very often, but there are definitely times that on the roller coaster of coaching, you wanted to quit. You wanted to just say it wasn't worth it. There were times definitely when it was hard for you, and Rosa wanted, she needed someone to talk to. You have to listen to your partner and be that shoulder to lean on.
Oh, and FYI, I don't know if many of you know this, but Chris was the one who came up with the Fit Republic as a team name, and I still think it's the best team name in the whole wide world. So who's your daddy? Okay, we've got a couple of questions here. Even just doing workouts and Shakeology, Sarah was saying, yes, that's super, that's something that brings you together as a couple. Even if you're just living the Beachbody lifestyle together, the partner isn't necessarily participating in the business, but that
getting
helps.
Involved. Yeah. Doing a workout program that your wife puts you on, even if it's country heat, and drinking a shake. It's not hard to do, and it's supportive.
Yeah. Even if you think it's dumb, it still feels good. When Chris started doing Body Beast, he still did some other stuff. He's into powerlifting and that kind of thing, and that's totally fine. But when he started implementing Body Beast, it was such validation for me. It felt I was over the moon excited. And then, when I started, I have to say this. Chris thought Shakeology was an overpriced, stupid protein shake, and he could not believe that I was paying that much money for Shakeology, right? Which is what I thought when I learned about Shakeology too, to be honest. And he's living the cop life, and meals are hard when you're on shift. So he started taking my Shakeology to work. And then 3 weeks later, 21 days later, he's like, I don't know what's going on with me, but I used to drink pots of coffee every shift, and I just can't do that. I feel like my body doesn't want that anymore. I'm feeling more energetic. You don't think that could be Shakeology, do you? And I was like, ah! He tried it. It worked. He felt a difference. So I felt that as a ton of support. Okay, question. Looking back before you were both home, are some ways, examples that you learned to show your support for each other that you would have wished you known when you first started? Like show of support that we wish we would have known when we started.
There's something that you wished I would have.
I wished you would have done a Beachbody workout and done Shakeology. That's what I wished. Also for me, like Chris's love languages. Ooh, I recommend that book, by the way, if you've not read it. Like Chris's love languages, I really wasn't that familiar with them. His love languages are gifts, which I couldn't care less about. I'm so disappointing to buy anything for because I just don't care. But I wish I would have paid more attention and invested more to showing love in the ways that he felt was important, right? Yeah. And touch, more bedtime cardio. Again, it's a thing. All right, we're about to time out. Any other questions real quick? I think we're good. Okay, thanks for being here, you guys. Feel free to share this video with your partner if they could not make it. Good night.